With fire, humanity tamed chaos. It was warmth in the cold, light in the dark, and safety against the beasts of night. Flames turned raw meat into nourishment and fear into control. For the first time, energy bent to human will. Around those early fires, we gathered not just to survive, but to imagine. From a single spark, civilization was born. Long before science, humans listened to the whispers of the forest. Every leaf, every root, carried secrets of healing, of poison, of balance. Herbal medicine turned survival into understanding. Pain became knowledge, wounds became wisdom. The first healers weren't doctors. They were storytellers of nature, passing cures by firelight, laying the foundation for all medicine to come. A simple circle, yet the greatest motion in history. The wheel turned labor into power, distance into connection. It gave birth to trade, travel, and technology. From potter's clay to chariots and engines, the circle kept rolling, carrying humanity forward. Every machine since in some way still spins with that same ancient motion. Before writing, memory was fragile, trapped in voices and fading minds. But with marks on clay and ink on skin, thought became immortal. Words bridged generations, laws dreams, and discoveries could endure. Writing turned chaos into order, history into story. It wasn't just communication, it was the birth of permanence. Mathematics gave the universe a voice. With numbers, humans described stars, structures, and motion. Turning mystery into pattern, it became the grammar of existence, the silent code behind everything. From counting stones to mapping galaxies, math taught us that even chaos follows rules, if we can learn to read them. The night sky was our first screen, and the stars, our teachers. Watching their motion, we learned time, direction, and destiny. Astronomy freed us from myths and showed us the vastness of the cosmos. Once we realized Earth was not the center, humility became our greatest discovery. The sky stopped being a ceiling and became a map. From the furnace came a new world. Metal was strength, precision, and permanence. Bronze, iron, steel. Tools no longer broke, weapons reshaped power. Blacksmiths were alchemists of reality, turning Earth into empire. With metal, humanity left the Stone Age behind and stepped into control. When we learned to plant, we learned to plan. Farming rooted us to the land, giving rise to villages, families, and time itself. Seasons became predictable, and hunger became manageable. Fields replaced forests, and humanity became the gardener of the earth. Civilization began not with conquest, but with cultivation. When survival was no longer enough, we began to ask, why? Philosophy transformed curiosity into clarity. From Greece to China to India, thinkers searched for truth, reason, and meaning. They built the blueprint for critical thought, the art of questioning everything. Before science, there was philosophy, and from philosophy, science was born. Freedom needed structure. Law defined fairness, democracy gave power back to the people. It was humanity's attempt to make justice real, not mythical. From Athens to Rome, from revolutions to republics, this idea evolved that order should serve everyone, not the few. Civilization found its conscience. From ancient China came one of humanity's quietest revolutions. Paper transformed thought into something that could travel anywhere. It replaced stone, wood, and silk with something light, lasting, and limitless. With paper, knowledge became portable. The first internet of ideas, centuries before electricity. The magnetic needle pointed the way when stars were hidden. With it, explorers dared to cross oceans, and the world unfolded. Empires rose on trade winds and steel ships. Guided by a sliver of magnetized iron, the compass didn't just find direction, it found destiny. Born from alchemy, gunpowder turned chemistry into power. What began as a quest for immortality ended in explosions. It shaped nations. It changed warfare, politics, and human ambition forever. The balance of power became a question of fire. We learned how to control destruction, but not always when to stop. Ink met metal, and humanity found its voice. Gutenberg's press unleashed words faster than any messenger could carry them. Books multiplied, knowledge spread, and revolutions ignited. The printing press ended the age of silence and began the age of ideas. When Copernicus moved Earth from the center of the universe, he also moved the human ego. The sun became our true anchor, and suddenly, everything made sense. It was more than astronomy. It was a philosophical awakening. The universe was vast, and we were finally small enough to understand it. An apple fell, and Newton asked why. From that question came the laws that bind the cosmos. Gravity explained everything from the fall of fruit to the dance of planets. It was the moment when observation became understanding, and the universe became predictable, beautiful, and mathematical. The microscope shattered invisibility. Beneath the surface of all things, a hidden world came alive. Cells, bacteria, life itself. What was once invisible became knowable. humanity discovered that even the smallest things hold infinite complexity. We didn't just look closer, we began to truly see. When James Watt harnessed steam, he ignited the Industrial Revolution. The world gained mechanical muscle. Factories, trains, and machines reshaped every landscape. Humanity no longer depended on wind or muscle. It had created its own endless motion. The rhythm of pistons became the heartbeat of progress. The lightning we once feared became our servant. Wires carried energy like veins, feeding cities and dreams. Electricity lit the night, powered machines, and gave birth to an age of invention. From Edison's bulb to Tesla's currents, this invisible force became the lifeblood of modern civilization. For the first time, words traveled faster than the wind. The telegraph shrank the world. The telephone gave it a voice. Across oceans and continents, people could finally connect in real time. Distance no longer divided, it united. Humanity discovered the power of instant presence. Darwin looked at life and saw a pattern, one of change, struggle, and adaptation. Evolution shattered the idea of perfection and replaced it with growth. From simple cells to complex minds, every species carried the story of survival. We weren't made, we became. And that realization changed everything. For millennia, the smallest enemies were the deadliest. Then came the discovery of sterility, penicillin, and prevention. Death lost its inevitability. Surgery became safe, wounds could heal, and epidemics could be stopped. Medicine moved from myth to mastery, giving humanity a second chance at life. Through invisible air, sound began to travel. Music, news, and human voices echoed across continents. The world became a single audience, listening together. Radio was humanity's first global heartbeat, proof that even the unseen could connect us all. Freedom gained wheels. The automobile turned the road into a new frontier. It gave ordinary people the power to move, to explore, to escape, to belong. Cities expanded, cultures met, and the horizon became reachable. The engine replaced the horse, and motion became identity. When the Wright brothers took flight, they carried the dreams of all who had ever looked up. Airplanes erased distance, uniting continents and hearts. War, commerce, and travel, all transformed by wings of metal. Humanity finally joined the birds it had always envied. Einstein didn't just rewrite physics, he redefined reality. Time bent, space curved, and the universe became a fabric of motion. The theory of relativity showed us that even constants could move, and that reality itself depends on perspective. It was the mind's greatest leap into the unknown. Inside the smallest thing, we found infinite power. Splitting the atom opened the gates to both creation and annihilation. Nuclear energy promised endless light and delivered shadows in Hiroshima. Humanity became godlike, yet fragile, holding destruction in its own hands. We taught machines to think, calculate, and remember. The computer turned logic into lightning, processing data faster than any brain could dream. From room-sized machines to the devices in our pockets, it became the new tool of thought, the extension of the human mind. For millions of years, we stared at the moon. Then, one night, we left footprints on it. Spaceflight was humanity's boldest act of imagination made real. We broke gravity's chains, looked back, and saw our planet, small, blue, and shared. It changed how we see everything. Billions of minds, connected by invisible threads. The internet merged every library, every conversation, every culture. Knowledge no longer belonged to the few. It became the air we breathe. Humanity built its own nervous system, and now, every idea has a voice. For the first time, we read the script of life itself. The human genome revealed the code behind our bodies, our diseases, our potential. It was both humbling and divine, proof that we are data written in flesh, and that understanding it could redefine medicine forever. Now, we don't just read DNA, we rewrite it. CRISPR gave us control over the blueprint of life, letting us delete illness, design traits, and alter evolution. It's the most powerful tool ever made, and the most dangerous. The question is no longer can we, but should we? From code, we built consciousness, or something close to it. AI can learn, adapt, and even create. Machines that once obeyed now think beside us. For the first time, intelligence is no longer uniquely human. We stand on the edge of a new kind of mind, our reflection in silicon. After centuries of burning and taking, humanity turned back to the sun, the wind, the sea. Renewable energy reconnected us to the planet that made us. Clean, endless power, proof that progress and sustainability can coexist. The future, once borrowed, can now be earned. At the smallest scale of existence, we found infinite possibility. Quantum computers use particles that can be everywhere and nowhere at once. They think beyond logic, beyond speed, beyond comprehension. With them, we approach the edge of what's knowable, where science becomes magic and imagination becomes real.